Hi everybody, it's the 13th of March 2024 and update 28.2 has just dropped on PC. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go through the 28.2 Year 7 anniversary patch notes, and we're also going to go through the 2024 PUBG roadmap because there's some very exciting things indeed. In fact, I'm gonna spoil it really by saying Unreal Engine 5 and PC modding. So let's get started. Now, I've been making a lot of videos today. It's a day off, and I try and pack a load in, which means my voice is a little hoarse. So excuse me while I open up. No, that's a can of Pepsi. But the problem with when I'm drinking sort of Coke and Pepsi and things like that is that I tend to have to smack my lips a lot. And I know I'm guilty of this throughout lots of my videos, so I will try not to do it next to the mic too much. But I've got to keep my whistle wet as we go through these patch notes. Okay, so PC live now. Come to console on March the 21st. So let's scroll down. World, for the 7th birthday of PUBG Battlegrounds, Erangel has turned into a venue for a grand celebration. Check out the upcoming PUBG 7th anniversary announcement for more details. If you watch the video that accompanies these patch notes, and of course I will put the link in the description below this video, you can kind of see some of the ideas. But school, as I understand, has been turned into a place on Erangel where there's lots of goodies. There's throwable cupcakes, and there's various surprises around the map. In fact, it says it here. Erangel School has been transformed into a lively venue for our 7th anniversary celebration, while the cafeterias scattered across the map have been decorated as anniversary cafes. Step into our 7th anniversary cafes and you'll stumble upon vending machines with a playful twist. There's a cheeky 7% chance they'll serve you a precise bounty of 7 energy drinks, because who doesn't love a lucky number synergy? There will be throwable cupcakes and surprise gift boxes scattered across the starting island of each map. 7th anniversary billboards will go live in Erangel, Miramar, Sanhok, Vikendi and Rondo. You'll also find a variety of other 7th anniversary objects and decorations. Gunplay Labs. So this is interesting. As outlined in the PUBG 2024 roadmap announcement, the SMG rebalance is now available in arcade. I haven't had a go at this yet. We're also prepared a survey to gather player feedback on the changes, so let us know what you think. So going forward, there will be no test server. What they're going to do is when they're making changes, they're going to put them into the main game within something like arcade, where you can jump in and you can test things and then give the devs feedback on it. When we talk about the roadmap, this is probably going to come up more, but the challenge that PUBG see that they have, and it's not necessarily the challenge the game really has, but the challenge the devs see that they have, is that they want to keep the meta changing as the game goes forward. I can't help but think this really comes from devs who play a lot of things like League of Legends, and that sort of game where the meta with different heroes coming in that have different skills constantly changes the way you play the game. I'm not sure that really applies to a semi-realistic battle royale like PUBG. I think once you get weapons settled in the performance that they have, then I'm not sure whether you should be changing them too much. I think the way that you do it, the way that you change players' behaviour and make them use different weapons is through availability of those weapons. So once you're happy with the way that the Vector, for example, works, or the UMP works, and you balance it reasonably, so there's not one that's so much better than one of the others. If you just want people to use the Vector for a while, or the UMP, or the Uzi, you take the other games out of the game for a while, and do it that way. Because I know personally, as someone who loves playing PUBG but can't come back to it that often, I don't want to come back to a PUBG whereby the guns feel totally different than they did a couple of weeks ago. But anyway, when you've got a big team of devs, you've got to give them something to do, haven't you? And if you have a gunplay team, it's not like they can come to the end of it and say, well, that's it, we're done. That's it, the guns are great. We don't need to adjust them anymore. Yeah, so there we go. So there's a link to the survey there as well. SMG. So I won't go through all of these things, but basically they've changed by percentage points quite a lot of the different all of the SMGs to change the way they feel. SMGs boast high rates of fire and outstanding damage, all while being accessible to players with varying levels of experience, rendering them an appealing choice for less experienced players. With this update, we're introducing the SMG rebalance to arcade and custom match, aiming to elevate their strategic significance and make the characteristics of different weapon categories more noticeable across various distances and scenarios. We would like to offer players the opportunity to test the SMG rebalance, which is targeted for release around mid-year, before finalising the balance adjustments. We'll be refining the specifics based on player input, so feel free to let us know what you think. So, yeah, I mean, I think we can kind of all agree that if we were just to take the SMGs, for example, something like the Vector, a really fast-firing gun, or maybe even I say the Micro Uzi, but the Uzi isn't all in real life, isn't that fast firing. But a fast firing gun like the Vector, if you come into contact with someone who's got, for example, the Bison, you would expect the Vector to be stronger close up, and the Bison to be stronger from further away, wouldn't you? Something like that. But we'll have to play it around with it when we see. Recall system. Based on your feedback, the recall system has now replaced Comeback Battle Royale on Vikendi and Tago. Available in normal match, Comeback BRs have been removed from these maps. The recall system setting for Vikendi and Tago has been added to custom match. So, we'll have to give it a go. I think I play solos, don't I? So I don't get to use this very often. But I guess if you've got a self-revive kit, that's actually self-revive kits are separate, aren't they, to this? I don't. We'll have to give it a go. You squad players can be better. As I explained in patch note 28.1, the utility belt will be removed, and its capacity feature will be integrated directly into the character's basic stats. Utility belt skins will also be removed, and players who currently own utility belt skins will receive the following compensations once the live server opens. The distribution of compensation may require some time. I don't know why. It must be something to do with ongoing compatibility with things like the new sort of skins that they want to introduce. I know some people are a bit annoyed who have bought these things and they're part of their outfit that they wear into PUBG. Is it a big thing? Not really, I guess. But I mean, it was... With every one of these things, it's kind of the death by 1,000 cuts from what Brendan Green, PlayerUnknown, kind of envisioned with his PUBG. That, obviously he developed with Crafton, with PUBG Corp, and obviously he left, a long time ago now. Moving away from that vision to something else. To help make better use of your outerwear, we're adding a dedicated inventory slot for the ghillie suit. When equipped in the ghillie suit, your existing outerwear will be hidden instead of dropping to the ground. When equipping them with the ghillie suit, any outwear looted will automatically be hidden. Weapon mastery. We've heard your suggestions and decided to expand weapon mastery with dynamic addition, throwables and more. Now show your aim is true both with a bullet and with a throw. Leveling up of stuff, excellent, good idea. Lots of bug fixes and the like. So I guess the big thing for this one, 28.2, is you can mess around with SMGs in arcade mode, and the fact that we've got these lovely anniversary areas to look at. So let's dive in and have a look at the roadmap for 2024. First of all, happy 7th anniversary to you all. We want to express our utmost gratitude as PUBG approaches its 7th birthday. Your unwavering support and affection have been instrumental in helping us reach this remarkable milestone. Today, we're excited to unveil our development plans for 2024, which are as crucial as our journey thus far. That's an important thing. Our primary focus of this year ahead is overhauling and enhancing PUBG to elevate our live service to new heights and offer vibrant gameplay experiences. Last year we focused on advancing the Battle Royale experiences across tutorial, normal match, ranked and modes. Through this process we discovered that introducing one or two new features could actually impact the core gameplay of PUBG rather than lowering the barrier or introducing a new playstyle. Therefore, in 2024 our focus is not on making the game easier, but instead on enriching the land, loot, survive sequence. Our aim is to offer enjoyment at different stages of the gameplay, allowing players to adapt and craft their own narratives, even amidst repetitive gameplay. Before we delve into the details, we must state that everything we're sharing today, along with any mentioned timelines, is subject to change. Game development can be demanding and priorities can change based on issues that arise and feedback. In addition, know that what we're sharing today isn't everything. Some content in development is still too early to share, and we've tried to find some exciting features to talk about in our roadmap. All that said, let's dive into the PUBG Battlegrounds 2024 roadmap, and then with that I must take a drink. So, again, in the description below this video, I'll link to this article, and it's well worth watching the PUBG Dev Talk. It's about 25 minutes long, but they do go into all of the details that we're going to go through here in a more sort of visual manner where you actually get to see what's going on. Destructible map environment, so you're going to be able to have a pickaxe and dig holes or throw a grenade and it'll blow a hole in the ground. Maybe you have to knock down walls, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, interesting. Whether we'll have time to do it, well, I mean, it gives you a tactical option, doesn't it? You know, say the circle's coming to you and you're like, oh, I haven't got any cover. Get the pickaxe out, dig a hole in the ground, and you've got a trench from which you can then defend your position, which otherwise would have been undefendable. So that's interesting. Or maybe we'll be able to use pickaxes to knock down walls to get into buildings and stuff like that. And let's move down. So we've talked about the SMG rebalance that's in arcade. So they're saying they're going to introduce that, and this is going to be the way going forward, that they're going to introduce changes within arcade so that you can try them out, give feedback, and they're not going to be pushing out the test server any longer. This is quite interesting. Team versus team system. What they recognise is that often there can be boring parts of PUBG. So, for example, even an aggressive squad, say that you drop a Pachinki and you wipe out everybody else in Pachinki, so you have a really exciting start, but then you have that boring bit where you're then looting up and then you're going to find another gunfight. So what they're saying here is what you can have is you can go into a match of Battle Royale, but you're playing against another team not for the chicken dinner, but for points in terms of kills and damage, which is fascinating. So you might not even be coming into contact with that other squad. In fact, this is very much like how Twitch Rivals often does it, where they have competitions, but the competitions aren't head-to-head competitions. They're purely based on points for like number of wins, number of kills, and that sort of thing in different matches. But in this one, so you can be up against another team, and they've got a kill. We need to get another kill, and you will earn things as this goes on, and you can go on streaks. So I think that again, that's an interesting way of improving those downtimes that you get within PUBG to introduce more things to do apart from just getting set up for the chicken dinner. And the teams that want to just get set up for the chicken dinner can do, but the teams that want to do this can do it, and it will be optional as well. Survival items. We're thoughtfully focusing on enhancing the survival aspect of gameplay by adding items that facilitate transportation and looting over those with direct combat effects, in alignment with the essence of Battle Royale genre. A variety of support items like the repair kit will be available as world tour items. So they showed, I think, like the zip line for this one. So the idea is that you can make looting more interesting, but by the way that people move around the map. So it will be fun moving around the map, because at the moment, cars are fun, aren't they? And the aeroplane things are fun. And motorbikes are fun, but how about you could fire a zip line up to a window and then zip up it, and then they get through it that way? That would be fun as well. So that's interesting as well. And also they're looking into PvE modes as well. And I agree. I think there should be a permanent PvE mode. I think there should be a survival mode in PUBG. PUBG and DayZ are so closely intertwined often with how they look and where their roots come from, and the spirit of the games, where the spirit of the game started from, that I think there should definitely be that. Collaborations and skins, they show there's, that's a Lamborghini, isn't it? And I think they showed a motorbike and another brand of car as well. More progressive weapon skins, if you're into them. I'm not really. Now, this is worrying. This is matchmaking, so that they're stressing here that they really want to move to an MMR system, if they're not already. I guess they probably are, where you will come up against players of similar skill levels. The big problem with this is, as you probably know, I can't think of any first or third person shooter that has tried to adopt some sort of skill-based matchmaking where it hasn't been received negatively by the community. And the problem with this, I'm pretty sure, is the fact that it's invisible. So that if you're playing, again, we'll use League of Legends as another example. So League of Legends, highly popular game. Normally you play in teams, don't you? And you what happens is you fight against other teams, and you gradually level up, don't you? But I'm pretty sure they tell you what your rank is in terms of your level, and so that as you get better, you can expect to play other players. The problem that Call of Duty had and has, and PUBG will have, is that unless they tell you that you're ranking up, it just becomes frustrating. Excuse me while I have another drink. Because I don't mind playing against better players if there's a reason for that. And the reason they always used to have within PUBG was the rankings. If you weren't aware of it, many years ago, for EU, first person and third person, solo squads, duos, and NA and Eurasia and all that sort of stuff, you would be ranked in terms of final position and kills, and maybe damage as well. I think it was kills and final position, and so you could play games of PUBG, and at the end you would get your points, and then you would see yourself move up and down on the rankings, and it was something to aim for. I remember trying to get into the top 100 of EU first person, EU third person. And when I did get into the top 100, and this was 2018 probably, 2019. For me, that was a really big thing, and it gave me something to aim for, and it made me understand and accept. Look, I'm going to be up against more difficult players this time. If, however, you're just throwing people into games with harder players, just because you want the less skilled players to have an easier time, the higher skilled players end up not liking it, because overall, I know it's not called casual mode. You have casual mode, which has a load of bots in normal mode and ranked, but normal mode is casual PUBG for me, and I'm sure for most people. They spawn in, they want to have a good time, and they want to maybe get a chicken dinner and have a good time with their friends. They don't want it to be too sweaty, because PUBG is sweaty enough anyway, and really the randomness that you achieve by having 100 players, whether they be solo squads or duos, on a server should mean there's a fairly good spread of skills within that already. I will continue, because I think I'm really losing my voice now. If I stop, I'll never get started again. So, what I'm saying is that I think ping should be king, like it would have been at the beginning of PUBG, like it used to be in Call of Duty. And the fact that you have 100 players in a lobby, that should give you the randomness of skills that come across. And in fact, they're much more spending their time trying to attract new or returning players to increase the player base, so that you get more of a spread of players, or by encouraging the good players to go to ranked, where they can be sweaty against other sweaty players, than doing something like this. Because the problem with skill-based matchmaking is connection stability. Something has to be at the top. And in first-person and third-person shooters, where the difference between winning and losing a gunfight could be a tenth of a second or even less, if you are forced into a lobby that has a higher ping than you would have had, and you're forced in that lobby because of matchmaking, you then lose because your ping is higher, then that's not a pleasant experience. And trust me, in Warzone with Call of Duty, this is, and Call of Duty in general, this has been a problem. Not a problem when there's hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people playing the game, but as that community contracts, you then get a situation where you're as a good player, you're forced into lobbies where your ping is too high. And that's no fun for anybody. So this, watch this space basically with this. Having skill-based matchmaking could be a really bad thing, depending on how far they turn the dial. And in my opinion, as I said, ping should be king. It should all be about connection stability, and doing things that way. They talk about map rotation, so having maps that are more suitable for different areas of the world might like different maps, which is fine. Making the bots better. Excuse me. Which is good, but not making them too hard, which is nice. Linking normal match ranked in esports. I never understood why they were different anyway. Why can't they just be the same? If you don't have the red zone in ranked or esports, don't have it in normal matches. I can understand why you would have less players. So an esports match might start with 60 players rather than 100, but everything else should just be the same. I don't know. Rewards, recall system, we've talked about that. Come up, we are going. Anti-cheat, again, they say they're going to be spending a lot of effort in creating anti-cheat. Obviously, cheating is horrendous in online games at the moment on PC, but that's why we don't want cross-play with console. And in the video, I'm not sure they're going to show it here, that they did show a graph that had the percentage of cheaters up, and this is in the video, at 0.5%. Or no, sorry, it's 0.3%. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, okay, 0.3%. But there's 100 players in each lobby. So that means on PC, every third game, at least every third game, you're going to come across a cheater. And that's horrendous, isn't it? In a battle royale, that's horrible. How can that be? I mean, obviously free to play was a big thing. The fact that you can just get another key for the game so quickly by creating a new account is just horrendous. But I'm no expert. I don't know how you prevent cheats. I mean, I would have thought you would prevent cheaters by modelling players' behaviour. And how players can behave, and you monitor them at a server level, and if their behaviour is outside of that envelope, that is then flagged as as something strange. And by behaviour, I mean speed of movement across the map. I mean the time it takes them to lock onto a target. As they're aiming. Like the not really the ADS, but when they ADS, and then time it takes from them starting to aim to actually being onto a target or achieving a kill. That would be a good metric, wasn't it? What is the time between a player starting to aim down sight and the time that they kill the other player? How fast is that? And obviously you're going to have different values for ranked, esport, and normal modes. Win rate, loads of things that I think you would measure at a server level. And you would just say, well, wait, that character is hitting a too high percentage of long distance shots. But I don't understand that. I'm no expert. And have they actually said that? They haven't said. But anyway, they also mentioned that they are moving over to Unreal Engine 5, which is very exciting, which will transform the way that the game looks. So that's a really massive thing as well. Let's go back to the top here. And that's going to happen in 2024. Moving on to Unreal Engine 5 opens up all sorts of possibilities, and all sorts of possibilities for new bugs as well. So there we go, some very exciting things. Very disappointing that there wasn't really any mention of console. So we'll have to see about that. But I am quite happy the fact that console is almost in its own walled garden when it comes to PUBG, so that we don't attract too many. So the PC hackers and cheaters can't go in. I know, however, that there are increasingly many number of ways that console players could cheat at first-person, third-person shooters. I was watching a video the other day where there was this box that you plug into your controller, and you could train it with the recoil pattern of a gun. Totally invisible to the PC or the console that was plugged into it, and it meant that you could just get rid of recoil in guns, which was pretty amazing. And we've always had like macros on controllers, haven't we, where you turn a semi-automatic, you put your assault rifle to semi-automatic, and when you press the trigger, it's not a continuous press. In the background, the controller is turning it on and off really quickly again to deal with recoil. And again, I think that's another thing where you have server-side level. You look at the envelope of how players react and how players move and what players do, and if things fall outside of that envelope, you know that it's suspicious. A bit like in the Olympics, if you run in the 100 meters final and and you get one of the medals, you get automatically tested for drugs, don't you? Well, it should be a bit like that in PUBG and any online shooters, isn't it? So if you're in the top 10% of players, you should be automatically have more tests applied to how you play the game to see if you're a cheater. But anyway, overall though, very exciting for 2024. You could argue that PUBG going to Unreal Engine 5 is almost like PUBG 2. Oh, and I've forgotten probably the biggest thing that I mentioned at the beginning. They did say that they're going to have UGC mods, so user-generated content mods on PC, where you could create your own experience. They didn't go into any more details than that, but maybe they've twigged that for many games, DayZ probably being the biggest example along with Armour, having the ability to mod a game extends its life incredibly. So maybe we'll have custom maps coming in. I don't know. Very exciting. Watch this space for that. Anyway, I've waffled on for long enough. My voice is falling apart. Sorry for all the gaps and coughs and splutters and licking and drinking and gasping, all that sort of stuff. But if you enjoy the video, hit like, put your questions and comments down below, and I will of course see you again soon.